Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Spare Tire Podcast. Today is December 21st, 2020, and this is episode 4. I'm your host, Hans, sitting across from me, as always,
Sam.
And today we welcome a very special guest, our second guest to the Spare Tire Podcast,
Wyatt.
Hello, Wyatt. Welcome to the show. Very glad to have you.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
We've been talking about doing this for a while, actually. You were one of the first people who kind of came up with the idea to start a podcast with me and Sam. I think it was actually the three of us who brainstormed the idea.
Yeah, that would have been right.
Yeah.
I was back this summer we started.
This summer. Yeah. So I'm glad to have you. You were definitely one of on the top of our lists for guests. So first and foremost,
to hear your opinions, stuff like that.
What?
I wanted to hear his opinions on things.
Oh,
so.
absolutely.
You're
Very
an interesting person.
Oh,
interesting
yeah.
character.
Very, very interesting.
All right. Well, first and foremost, let's give an introduction to Wyatt. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, well, like you said, name's Wyatt. I go to school for criminal justice at Technical College down in the southwest corner of the state.
Yeah. And all three of us went to high school together, and it's funny. We were all knew of each other and were friends in high school, but we didn't actually really start hanging out and becoming close until we left for college. But we don't go to the same colleges, so it's kind of funny. But every time we're back on break or whatever, we always hang out. So, let's start it off. Before we begin and get into our topics, just go over some channel things.
Yeah, what channel
we mentioned in our last episode how SoundCloud only allows you to upload 3 hours of content at a time unless you pay to upgrade. So obviously with podcasts, we're putting out hours, every time we do one. So we've already filled up that 3 hour slot. So we're going to have to start rotating. So once we release episode 4, which is this one, we're going to take off episode 1, and then 5, we're going to take off 2. So it's only going to be our 3 most recent episodes. So anyone who's interested in the show and wants to keep up with us, I would recommend subscribing on YouTube because that's where we're going to be able to catalog all of our podcasts. So, but if you like listening on SoundCloud, you can listen to the top 3 there. Also, with us having a guest, we have a new mic. So the guest, Wyatt, is now using Sam's mic.
Yeah.
The first 2. Sam has his own mic.
Beautiful mic.
I think
hopefully there's no audio problem.
I also think my mic is cutting out, unfortunately.
Back at it.
I apologize if that's happening. I'm keeping an eye on our levels. That was another thing we needed an update. We are aware of the cutouts that's happening with my mic. It's very annoying. It happens with the cord. The way the cord is connected to the mic is not proper. So I've been using this mic because I kind of know how to keep a hand on it to make sure it doesn't cut out, but it seems like it does keep happening, so I apologize for that. What I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if you heard it, is that we have a new mic because obviously we have a guest now.
Yeah.
So Wyatt takes Sam's old mic, and Mike has I just
Mike.
called him Mike.
Mike.
Mike has a new mic.
Why?
Mike has a new
My
Sam.
new name?
So Sam's got a new mic. We're not sure of the quality. Last podcast we used it, obviously, but so we're still testing that out. Obviously, we have a couple technical hiccups going on, but I guess that's okay. It's always a work in progress, and I guess I'd rather have an entertaining show with technical hiccups than have all the technical stuff together and be boring as hell, because having a nice mic and a nice cord isn't going to make your podcast enjoyable, but you can always work on technicals. So, all right. I think that's all we had to say up front. We gave an intro to Wyatt. Let's get it started. What is our first topic today, Sam?
Do you want to talk about Cyberpunk? A follow-up just quickly about that?
Yeah, so we talked about it last week. We kind of said it looks, obviously Cyberpunk, let's just give a explanation as to what it is, first off. It's a role-playing game for Xbox and PlayStation's the current gen.
And next gen,
and on PC. It's a role-playing game, first-person shooter type of game set in a futuristic cyber
world.
Yeah, cyber. Did you say cyber?
It's a cyberpunk world.
Yeah.
Made that joke off air. I'll make it on air. I don't care.
It's like a super highly anticipated game, and they've been the company CD Projekt Red, who makes it, has been working on it for like 7 years, And it finally came out, and we talked about it right when it came out, and we said it looks really cool, which I still think it
Yeah, I
does.
stand by that.
I stand by it, but
think that it looks very cool.
the release of it has been just absolutely plagued by
bugs and glitches.
And just terrible things.
Driving through telephone poles.
Yeah, before the podcast, we always like to sit around and watch some YouTube and just see what's going on in the world and think of ideas of what to talk about. And we literally saw dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of Cyberpunk glitch and bug videos, and a lot of people talking about how bad the game is and how poorly not that the game itself is bad. It's almost what's going on with this podcast right now, right? The content,
We are the Cyberpunk.
the
Cyberpunk
content,
podcast.
the content, what is going on, the idea, the core idea is really, really good, but the execution, the technicals are not there yet.
are disastrous. in
I don't think
Cyberpunk.
we're disastrous. I guess my mic cutting out is a little disastrous. if you can't-
disastrous. We are
if you-
Cyberpunk. We're disastrous.
If you don't know what I'm saying, but so they've been getting sued. They've been telling the people who bought their game to return it.
Well, what happened?
What have you seen? Give
I've
us a little
seen-
explanation.
Cyberpunk didn't release anything about the current gen, like PS4 and Xbox One, at all, and they didn't tell anyone about the issues with it before it released. So that's a huge issue. And then because of that, and because it runs so poorly on current gen, Sony, has taken it off of the store, I believe, and
Wow.
is issuing refunds for it on PS4
Wow.
store.
And for anyone who's not a gamer, that's
rare.
Yeah,
that is
that's super
rare.
Never happens.
If you buy a game and you hate it, oh well, tough shit.
Yeah, tough.
Tough shit. Shit out of luck. If you
buy
buy
it at a store, if you like digital copies, you're kind of out
it's
of
all
luck.
digital. Let's make
yes,
it.
Yeah.
It's a
that's
digital
the thing.
refund.
Digital, yes, which is even rarer. Like
yeah.
it is so like getting a game that you either don't like or has a glitch or you're kind of sold false
False bill, yeah.
advertising, advertising and everything. You cannot get a refund. It is incredibly rare that a game company says our game is bad to the point where we're giving you your money back. But it was PlayStation in this case.
Yeah, I know. It's like a whole thing. I can only think of one game that had a similar situation, but even then it was less. Do you remember Assassin's Creed Unity?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
When that came
not
out,
nearly
It
as bad.
was bad. It was so bad that Ubisoft went, hey, if you guys bought the season pass or like pre-ordered the deluxe edition, we get this game as bad. You can get a free Ubisoft game.
Ubisoft. Oh my.
Which is I was like, well, that makes sense, I guess. But like issuing a full refund is crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I didn't read too deeply into it, but I also saw that they were getting sued by some people. So what you were saying earlier is that CD Projekt Red, the company that makes this game, in all of their advertising used footage and things that showed the game running on the next gen of consoles,
Yeah.
meaning the newest, best hardware. So it's like this would be almost kind of like a way to explain it. If you were like a company or like a gas company, like a gasoline for your car, and you advertised your gas like running in a Ferrari, and then you're running it in like a 2004 Ford Fusion. Like that's kind of what it is. Does that make sense? That's maybe a bad analogy.
I
got
get
it.
what
It's
you're
maybe a
saying.
bad analogy. It doesn't really make sense. But what I'm saying is they are showing their game at its best capacity.
Here, can I come up with a better one?
Yeah, go for it.
It's like an ad for a car showing all the optional features, but then you buying the base car with no additional features.
But it's even worse because it's a completely different it's a completely different console.
Yeah.
So like you're buying a game that isn't even the same game.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like when
it's
you buy a game from like a game store and they have the wrong disc inside of it almost.
Almost like it. So yeah, they're basically selling a completely in their advertising. They are promoting a game that is totally maxed out and completely perfect, on the new consoles,
Yeah.
because there haven't been a lot of problems on the new consoles.
Well, there have been, but it's the classic
It's-
day one problems.
and
where it's
every
like-
single video
yeah.
game has glitches and problems.
And the
It's
new
unavoidable.
consoles have their own problems
and they're
too,
brand
how
new.
They're gonna run stuff.
Yeah, but the current gen have been terrible, and people were looking at this advertising saying these graphics look great, this looks amazing, and then they get it on their console and they realize that it's not even possible. Like it's a completely different game. It's the same game, but it's made in a way to fit that console with how good the graphics look, how many frames you get per second. The entire game is essentially different.
Yeah. With how long they've been working on it, though, too, you think that
I
they
would
should-
have, with how long they've been working on it, I would have thought they would not have released a current gen version. And only
Honestly,
the
that
next gen.
seems to have been the problem.
That
That
is-
seems
if they
to have
had
been where
no-
they messed up.
If they had no current gen version, none of this would be an issue.
Yeah, but how did they... Did you really think they planned that far ahead? Because they've been making it for, what?
7 years?
7 years, yeah. Did they plan that far ahead to have a
Well,
next-gen
okay,
console, or
well,
did they
think of
just
it
kind of,
this
like,
way.
switch everything at the end when they figured out
That might actually be a good
It's
point.
been
yeah.
delayed a billion times. You also
Has
have
it
to think of
really?
that too. That's
Oh,
why it's been delayed a fucking lot.
It's been delayed by over like 2.5 years, I think.
insane.
Like
Yeah.
from the initial
Yeah,
date that it was
so it should have been
supposed
ready
to release.
run on current gen.
True, I agree with that.
So,
I mean,
well,
I
I think
agree.
they just tried
The
to like make
latest-
changes to fit it with, and then they just kind of fucked it up in
Well,
the process.
that's what the
Yeah.
latest delay was. It was like we have to release this on like I think they said like 7 platforms, and we are not, like we don't know if we can do it.
Yeah, that's
Obviously
tough.
they couldn't.
Like PC
Well,
and
PC, the
consoles.
2 consoles, like next gen, current gen, and
Did
then I think Stadia.
Switch too? No, Stadia.
Oh yeah, it is on Stadia, which I don't think
Fuck
anyone
the Stadia.
plays. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Really.
Dumb.
Yeah.
If you have Stadia, I would be surprised.
I've never
Yeah,
met a person
really.
who's ever said anything good about Stadia or knows what a Stadia is.
So I feel kind of bad being super like critical of Cyberpunk because I think the reason why their game is failing and having all these problems is because they made too good of a game.
Too
They-
ambitious of a game.
Too ambitious of a game.
Yeah.
They wanted the graphics to be so good. They wanted the gameplay to be so good. They wanted the story to be amazing. The world itself is massive
Yeah.
and so deep and detailed. It's so I like when game companies do things like that, are ambitious, try something new, try to do something that's better than any game out there. But this is sometimes what happens
Yeah.
with a lot of these games. This is what happens. Like Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity that you brought up earlier. That was at the time one of the like best graphical games out there.
I would say that game's beautiful.
I would say it still
it's
is.
an insanely
Great
good looking
looking
game.
game.
And it's kind of weird for an Assassin's Creed. They're not notorious for,
For
their graphics.
They have
really.
downgraded significantly since
They actually
then, which is
have.
insane.
But that game,
I wonder
which
what
is like,
Valhalla's gonna look
Not
like.
good.
Really?
Not
It
good?
looks like
Ooh.
if you play Odyssey.
I played
It
Assassin's
looks like
Creed
Odyssey.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm not a fan. Have you played much Assassin's Creed?
I used to. I played a lot of like 1, 2,
Hold the mic
Brotherhood, and
a little closer to
3.
your face.
Sorry.
A little closer.
All right.
Put it in your mouth.
Like I am. Yeah. All right. What were you saying?
I played a lot of like 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
and Brotherhood around those. Like when
Me
Assassin's
too.
Creed was big
Yeah.
on 360.
Assassin's Creed used to be my absolute favorite game franchise. Assassin's Creed 1 is amazing. Assassin's Creed 2 is probably
Assassin's
one of
Creed 2
the
is
best
my
games
favorite
ever
game.
made.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed 3 is
I just like because that was like a
Awesome, too.
that was like a switch up, but it was like good.
Assassin's Creed 2
They're
just
switching
the
it all
story.
up now, but
You-
it's not as good as it was.
there's an Assassin's Creed trilogy, which is Assassin's Creed 1, or I'm sorry, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood,
And then Revelation.
and
Yes.
Revelations. And you play as the same character throughout all games. And the first game literally starts with you being born.
I always thought that was weird.
And you can
Yeah.
you literally like hit, it says like tap the A button and you like move your limb.
Yeah.
Like as you're literally just a newborn infant. And then in the last game, you're literally like an old man.
Yeah, you're
And
the old guy
You
version.
die.
of
Do you die? In
it.
the end
No,
of the
you
game?
die. I'm an Assassin's Creed nerd a little bit. There's a short film released after it called
Oh my
Assassin's
God,
Creed
really?
Embers that literally shows his death because he just
Huh.
dies in public. He dies of old
Really?
age. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's it. Well,
Which is
so
good
it's kind of
ending.
cool
It's a good
because you.
ending.
But Assassin's Creed was always a very unique and like immersive game. I thought the story was so cool. Like every individual story, every individual
yeah.
game has its own story, but then it has an overarching story between all of them, which ties it together. And I also like how it's set in a historical place. A lot of video games
Yeah.
are just like sometimes the scenery and the environment and where it's set can be repetitive, and Assassin's Creed was always super unique and like accurate and immersive, that you could go from the American colonies to ancient ancient Rome to medieval Europe.
Well,
to
you know it's not ancient Rome. It's
just the Roman
it's
Empire.
it's like Renaissance period.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. The Renaissance. But there was ancient Rome in Assassin's Creed. No, that's
They had like
that's
they had
ancient
like
Greece.
off. They had
Sorry,
like
ancient
off.
Greece.
Yeah.
There's also they have
They had like
Romans and
off-brand
Origins.
ones too.
Yeah, they're
Like, they had,
Romans
like,
and Origins.
India and Egypt and stuff like that
Yeah,
too. Which
I
Yeah.
never played those.
yeah, those were not.
They were
cool.
weird. They're
So
like
I
2D.
used to love Assassin's Creed, and they made a switch up about 3 or 4 years ago, where they entirely changed how their game works, like how it plays. But I think some people liked it, and I absolutely hated it.
All right.
Which one was the Switch?
I can tell you exactly what the Switch is.
Yeah,
it's
what was it?
Assassin's Creed Origins,
Yeah,
which is a good
Okay.
game. I like it a lot.
I did
It's
not.
not for the Assassin's Creed purist.
No, not at all.
Not even kind of.
So it was kind of an interesting thing. Like they literally changed the entire formula, but just kept the name. Going back to for people who don't play games or Assassin's Creed, going back to the car metaphor, it's like if Ford
Classic car metaphor.
came out with the 2022 Mustang, and the car looked like a Volkswagen Bug, and it was still called the Ford Mustang, and it'd be like, well, it's not the Ford Mustang. You're just saying it's a Ford Mustang, and you put the little Mustang logo on it, but it's not a Mustang. That's kind of what it feels like to me, because they entirely changed the gameplay, the story, and the only thing that stayed the same was that the character wore the assassin hood, and it had the Assassin's Creed name on the box.
Okay. I agree, but also slightly disagree because Origins, Odyssey, I agree 100% with you. It is not Assassin's Creed. Origins is because it explains like the history of the games. Like it's like, oh, this is the beginning of the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and shit. So it ties in well enough that it's an Assassin's Creed game. Odyssey, I don't think has anything to do with Assassins up until the DLC.
That's not my only problem with it.
Okay,
though.
well, that's my problem. I should say that. That's my problem.
That is a problem. The bigger problem is how the game that you're actually playing, the gameplay. So, like in the old Assassin's Creed, what you would do is run around rooftops, blend into crowds, hide in bushes, sneak around, pickpocket people, and your goal was to assassinate like targets. And throughout the story, you'd have different targets and different people you take out, and you would stealthily sneak across a map, taking out guards one by one, like silently, and you'd finally get to your target, and then you take them out with an assassination. It wasn't a lot of like fighting combat, like sword fighting. Now in the new games, there is almost no stealth. There's almost no like silent killing or sneaking around or pickpocketing or anything. It's basically all hand-to-hand or sword combat, and it's just not the same. You agree with that?
I mean, I don't want to be the devil's advocate for the game, but
No, that's fine.
there is stealth in it. It's just not. It's the
It's different.
It's different. It's way because
Feels
you
different.
could instantly kill your targets with a silent
Yes.
attack. In Origins, Odyssey, and in Valhalla, there's a chance you will not be able to if your weapon
See-
doesn't do enough damage.
Really?
See, that's
Yeah,
what's
there's
so
levels
weird
in
to
it.
Yeah,
me.
that doesn't make
Don't
sense.
you agree,
to me.
Wyatt?
I feel like the assassin's kill should always be the.
Yes.
That's like the because then it has that cutscene afterwards. It's
That
gotta be.
yeah, that was kind of the thing of the game, is that you don't have to fight. You know, you're
Yeah.
not sword fighting
You're
and taking on
assassin.
enemies.
Something cool.
It was
yeah,
you're
you're doing something
sneaking
cool.
around,
Yeah, you took out.
and you finally get to your target within range, and you just take them out.
Yeah.
And I mean, the assassin's classic weapon was a hidden blade, which is a hidden sheath blade in there.
Under your wrist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
under your wrist. And
Did they
if
have
you're
to-
gonna,
didn't they have to lose a finger for it? Was that the
That was in the
original ones,
first
or
game,
was
and then it was
yeah.
taken out in the second game.
Why'd they do
he
that?
lost a finger for
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah.
man. That's sad.
Only one character loses. Well, I mean, they brought it back in Origins. That character lost his finger, but then that's
What was the point?
We
of
don't
the
have to get
finger,
into the-
though?
it's commitment.
So okay,
Okay.
so we got on this tangent.
All right, that's fair enough.
We got on this tangent because we were talking about Cyberpunk, and then we were talking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the new Assassin's Creed game, which is set in Viking times. He plays a Viking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's where it is or what time period it is, but you're a
You
Viking.
know, it's like Scandinavia, I think.
Yeah,
Is Scandinavia
I'd
in
assume.
England, or is it just in
England.
the Scandinavia? Well, the
Scan-
Vikings, they were
Well,
in
they were-
England.
yeah.
Go.
That's like really
Scandinavia
early.
Isn't,
That's
England
Britain?
isn't considered Scandinavia.
Britain and England are the same thing.
England's a city.
England's a country.
Oh my
London
God,
is
I'm
a
glad we
city.
have this
Yeah,
on.
say, I just fucked
I'm
myself.
glad
As soon as I
we
said it,
are
I was like,
recording
wait, I'm going
this.
strictly off of Civ Rev. I'm going to fuck myself.
Wait, England is a city. Wait, what did you just say?
England is a city in Civ Rev. I'm just going to back myself.
It's Civ
No
Rev?
way.
Yep,
It's a
it
city,
is.
it?
Civ-
What?
Yeah.
The game Civilization
game, the
Revolution.
You
game?
start out, your capital is
Dude.
London.
Fuck me. Are you serious?
You are
Yes.
an idiot.
London is
I
the
have
capital of
literally.
England
I don't
is
play
a
as
city.
English, all right?
England
Don't
is
know
a
history
city.
at that point.
Yeah, you're kind
Shows
of an
how much
idiot
I
for that
don't
one.
care about
Oh
them.
my God. Okay,
What was the point?
so
Let's go to
Assassin's
the
Oh,
point.
we're
Creed.
talking about Valhalla.
Yeah, let's fuck
Assassin's
Valhalla.
Creed Valhalla is a new game by Assassin's Creed. Just came out. Usually they would release an Assassin's Creed game every year. I think they took 2 or 3 years working on this one.
They took a break between
2?
Syndicate and Origins. I don't think they took a break. But
They took a break between after 3, I'm pretty sure, too.
Okay, anyway, let's
The
just talk about Assassin's Creed
Black Flag
Valhalla.
didn't come out till a couple of years after.
that game sucks. All right.
Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, please. Sam, have you
Please.
seen... I have not seen much of it. What have you guys seen?
I've just kind of seen the trailer, and like it wasn't really a lot of gameplay. It was
No,
mostly
it
just,
was a
it was mostly like a
cinematic.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
mostly
all
like a
piercing.
cinematic, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I haven't really seen any like gameplay trailers or anything
Yeah,
yet.
same with me. Have you seen any gameplay?
I've seen a little bit, but I care more about the story because it's like whatever. I'm not gonna buy this game. I don't care anymore. But I'll watch the story.
So why did you say not good?
To what, Valhalla?
Yeah, he
Sorry,
said,
I'm like
I can't wait to see Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and you said,
because
not
it
good.
looks exactly to me like Odyssey. I've seen that much gameplay where it's like, okay,
So the last Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed
yeah.
game.
Guess
And-
time will tell.
yeah, history will vindicate me. But it just looks like, Valhalla
you're
looks
right.
like Odyssey, and it just feels and looks like Odyssey gameplay wise. The only difference is there's instead of a level system, there's a power like a star. I don't know what the hell they call it in the game. It's like a power level. Have you played Destiny?
Yeah.
It's that.
Oh,
Have you played Destiny? You know what I'm talking about? Instead
No.
of like a base level, you have a star level, which is like your strength level, and it goes up the more armor and stuff. Like the more you level up,
Interesting.
that goes up.
Well, I went from being one of the Assassin's Creed fanboys. It was literally my favorite game franchise because I'm a bit of a history nerd, and I also just like the story, and I like the stealth, and I like climbing on rooftops. To now, I'm kind of a Assassin's Creed hater because they totally switched up their formula.
There's like no history
on me.
anymore, really.
No,
no.
it really isn't. They used to have like a bunch of historical
Yeah.
characters
You would
and
kill
events.
historical characters.
Oh yeah.
You would kill historical
Had
characters.
to fight George Washington in number 3. That was
Well,
my
that's a
favorite. thing
that's
to
a
Fight
do.
him?
DLC.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
a
remember
DLC.
fighting
That's a
him.
DLC
It's DLC,
where you,
but
he becomes king and you have to kill him.
yeah. It's,
Oh,
it's still
what?
pretty cool. Yeah, it's really cool
It's
DLC.
an interesting
That's
DLC.
cool.
Yeah.
Like alternate
Yeah.
history, but usually it's based
Yeah.
on real
Oh no,
history.
it's always.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like when you
Can't say
kill
always.
characters, they're actually characters who died at
Yeah,
that
you
time
fight,
and were killed by like
The Borgias.
murder or assassination. Oh
That's
yeah,
a
the
big
Borgias.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Fight the
Yeah,
Pope.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
you kill the Pope in
Yeah.
Assassin's
You
Creed
don't
2.
kill him. You spare him.
No.
No,
thought you
'cause
killed
then his
him at
son
the
kills
end.
him in Brotherhood
Yeah.
with an apple.
Oh,
I don't understand how he kills him with
okay.
an apple. I think it's poisoned, but it's weird.
Huh. Okay,
Those
So-
sneaky assassins.
I think that's a good conversation on Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk
More Assassin's
and video
Creed.
games. We got pretty deep.
Got pretty heated.
We went pretty deep into the video game lore. For any of you guys who aren't super into gaming or anything, sorry
Nice.
for the voice crack. I apologize if that didn't make sense or is hard to follow. But
I don't.
if you haven't played
I
Assassin's
don't
Creed or
apologize
know
at
what
all.
Cyberpunk
I'm
is,
never gonna
you
apologize
could probably
for who
follow
I
along.
am and my nerdiness of dumb things.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
All right, should we move on to our next topic we wanted to cover?
Next topic. This is gonna be a topic I have no idea about.
Yeah. Well, you should know a little bit about it.
Okay,
This
well, that
is
sentence
the,
alone makes me think I have no idea what we're talking about.
Today, the NFL released the Pro Bowl rosters for the 2020 season.
I know two people. Oh, I know Aaron Rodgers, but I know Myles Garrett.
You know Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
Everyone's
too.
favorite.
Myles
You
Garrett.
should know most of the Packer players.
You think I
that got
give
on,
a-
shouldn't you?
Hoot about the Packers.
Well, you
Okay,
should know
yeah.
at
I know
least.
Aaron
So-
Rodgers.
Let's say this up front. Me and Wyatt, well, we're all from Wisconsin. Me and Wyatt are very strong Packer fans, as every Wisconsinite should
I grew
be.
up a Packers fan. All right, I'm not.
And then there's Sam, who for some reason supports
I love the Browns.
the Cleveland Browns.
Goddamn
the
right.
worst the worst team
Hey.
in professional sports.
Hey, they're
The
doing
worst
good right
franchise, not team, franchise. The worst franchise in professional sports, the Cleveland Browns. He's a fan of them.
No, I wouldn't call them the worst franchise.
One of
now.
them.
Well, they're
No
pretty
way.
bad.
The Jaguars.
One
The
of 'em.
Jaguars, for how long they've been around,
The
they have
Browns
the
have
The
been-
Browns
worst
have been around since like the
Worse and
40s, dude.
Yeah, the Browns have been around for a long time.
The
They
Jaguars
have
have
a
been
lot
sucking
of
since like 2000. The Browns have been sucking since the
Jaguars
40s.
have been sucking since they've been around. The Browns have a lot of.
Jaguars have been around since like 20.
The Browns have a lot of like
20
NFL or whatever they were called, national championships, whatever they were called before the Super Bowl.
Still,
I'm pretty sure.
Browns are like have been a joke for
Yeah.
a long time. They have been.
Well,
But this year they're
Yeah.
actually doing very well. What's their record right now?
Last I checked, it was like
11-4.
I think so.
'Cause they
11
won
and 4,
last
because
night.
this is
Yeah, it'd be
yeah.
11-4. Yeah.
but so that's amazing.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be in the playoffs.
Damn right.
Mayfield is my guy.
Dude, you
Yeah,
are the
Baker
fakest fan
Mayfield.
ever.
How am I the fakest fan ever?
You have been giving me shit as long as we've been friends about me liking the Browns.
No, I
You
have
can't give
not.
shit to a you can't
Yes,
not give shit to a
But then
Browns
to
fan.
Yes,
just,
I
they're
give
doing
the
good this
shit.
year. Oh, I'm gonna buy a Baker Mayfield jersey. Where
I
do
had the
I?
Baker Mayfield jersey when he got drafted. Thank you.
When was that?
Last year when he got
Okay,
drafted.
so when they were starting to get good.
What do you mean when they were starting to get?
You weren't
he
a
didn't
fan
even-
when Hugh
he
Jackson
didn't
was
even
around,
start.
all right?
Yes, I was a fan. I told you I was a fan junior year because we had math class together.
We didn't have
kept
math
talking
class,
about
dumbass.
Yes, we did junior year.
We were a
right.
literature
We were in
class.
algebra.
We didn't have algebra.
All right.
That
No,
was
we
senior
had.
year.
Oh yeah. We
All right,
had.
let's get it together
English,
now.
Yeah.
Let's get it together.
We are.
So let's go over the rosters for the NFC, which is I think what we're more interested in. The starting quarterback is Aaron Rodgers for the Packers. He's been doing really well this year. Obviously, Packers are one of my favorites. I'm not just being biased when I say this. One of my favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Are
What do you think
the
about
best?
that?
Are they the best in the NFC right now?
I
think
think
so.
they are the ones.
Did the
They're
Saints
doing really,
lost-
really
Did the
good.
Saints win or lose
Do you think?
yesterday?
Do you think the Packers could win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they have a good chance. I mean, you just need to shape up a little bit on defense.
All right.
Defense
Run
okay.
has
game, run
been
game
weak.
is a
Let
little
me
tough.
let
Run
me
game's
throw
a little
this
tough.
question your way then.
Yeah.
Packers, Browns. Who are you voting for? Huh? Fake fan?
Dude,
Packers.
if that
yeah.
is the Super Bowl, that would be
I would
insane.
glorious.
Nuts.
That would be
That'd be nuts.
amazing. I would love to see that.
I would too.
Packers,
That'd be
Browns.
awesome.
Yeah. Do you think are the Browns in the playoffs for sure? I think the
I
Packers.
think they're,
No,
are.
they
they're
have-
wild card, right?
They're like the 5th seed in the wild
Yeah,
card.
they're not.
right
They're
now,
not
I'm
in
pretty
for
sure.
yet.
No, they're. I mean, the Ravens are kind of fell off this year. They're not doing as well as
Yeah.
they were high energy
Well, the
last year.
Steelers have been great.
Well,
Are
they're
they
in a
winning
tough
right now?
division.
I'm sorry. I don't like.
I don't think the Steelers are that good this year. Honestly,
Dude,
I
they're
think
like
kinda-
11.
They
They
have
have,
a
an
great
insanely
record.
good record.
Yeah, they
Just
have a good
record-wise.
record, but they just
The
haven't
team-
played. They haven't played any good teams, and I mean,
think
And
that's
that's what
true.
matters.
before we started, they were losing 16-0 to the Bengals.
Yeah,
so,
that's
Yeah,
true,
yeah.
yeah.
The
so
Steelers
that's
are
a little hard to come back from.
the Steelers are currently playing as we record this, so that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about. So continuing with the roster at quarterback for the NFC, Russell Wilson of the Seahawks and Kyler Murray of the Cardinals. I was kind of surprised to see Kyler Murray being. Is he his second year?
Yeah.
It's his second year,
Second
right?
year.
Yeah, so that was actually good for him to make that. Running back, there is Dalvin Cook of the Vikings, Alvin Kamara of the Saints, and then Aaron Jones, again, of the Packers. So 2 Packers already up there. And then wide receivers, we have Devontae Adams of the Packers, DeAndre Hopkins of the Cardinals. We were talking about DeAndre Hopkins earlier when we were looking at this list.
Yeah,
How he
that's
got
a
he
big
got
thing with Kyler
traded.
Murray.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I think that Kyler Murray is up because he's got 2 big
I
weapons
agree.
now. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's a little bit older, but
Oh yeah, he's
you know,
old.
DeAndre
but
Hopkins,
still
who's
good.
constantly top 3. It's
If you saw the catch that DeAndre Hopkins had a couple weeks ago in the end zone against
Is he the
was it,
Cardinals? Is he the
Lions?
Cardinals guy?
no,
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Cardinals.
That was against.
I-
that was against the Bills. That was last week.
Was that last week?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He had an insane. He was tightly covered by 3 guys. Kyler Murray was at the 50-yard line scrambling out of the pocket, chucked up just a Hail Mary, and DeAndre Hopkins brought it in.
Yeah, it was
We were
impressive.
talking about
That
how
was a really good game, though.
it was
That
a great
that
game
was a
and
really good game.
one of the best catches I've ever seen. But we were talking about how he got traded just this season for like a 5th-round pick or something like that. And it's kind of amazing how probably a top 3 receiver in the NFL is deemed as valuable as a 5th-round pick in the draft, which you could draft a guy and he could literally play 0 games for your team his entire career. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Sorry.
that's like kind of
Back
giving
to
him
the
for
list.
nothing. It's like you're trading, like you're saying that he's worth.
It's
nothing,
basically
essentially.
giving
It's
him
kind of
away.
like a diss to him in a way. It's not good. good.
Continuing with the receivers is DK Metcalf, who is that absolute physical specimen beast for the Seahawks. Justin Jefferson, who's a rookie for the Vikings.
Yeah, he's
That's
having a
pretty
really good year.
impressive.
Do you think that DK should be up there with?
I think
a
he's
rookie
pretty
too,
good.
isn't he?
Second year.
Is he a second year?
Yeah, second year. Last year as a rookie.
Okay. Do you think he should still be up there?
I think he's good.
How many receivers do they have on the list?
4.
Okay.
4 receivers. So Adams, Hopkins, Metcalf, and Jefferson. Tight ends. I'm just gonna touch on the I think interesting or relevant people from here on. David Bakhtiari of the Packers is a starting left tackle who just signed like a massive contract. He's gonna be one of the highest paid players in the NFL.
I think he's highest for his position.
Oh, I think definitely highest
I
for
think
his
that he just
position.
signed that contract.
Ellington Jenkins.
Elton Jenkins.
Of the Packers is also a starter on the offensive line. And then going to the defense, Aaron Donald. He's, of course, a beast. Here's the one I wanted to... Oh, no. Sorry. That's the AFC. Continuing at the NFC, Khalil Mack of the Bears, Zadarius Smith of the Packers. So a lot of Packers so far. A lot. Who else for the Packers? Anyone? Oh, Jair Alexander
Yeah, he's having
is
a great
also
year.
up there. So what teams did you say had 7 players?
It was the
Packers?
Seahawks, the Packers, Chiefs, and
Ravens?
yes, the Ravens. They all had 7 players make.
That's a lot.
Bowl.
They have 7
It is.
players
That's,
make the...
I mean, that's 28 out of 44 players from 4 teams.
yeah, and you
For a
said...
starting roster, at least. I mean, I don't know how many players are actually in the Pro Bowl, but 28 out
Yeah.
of whatever it is, that's a lot.
That's pretty impressive.
You got 53-man roster normally on a team, so that's
They're
half.
not doing a full 53 man.
No, yeah,
If
so
they only have
that's-
4 receivers,
Yeah,
that's not a
exactly.
full
So that's
53.
roughly
Yeah.
half of what they're going to have right there.
So you were saying that they're not actually going to play a actual game this year, right?
No, they're just doing like an award ceremony January. I think it was January 31st is when they're doing it, like right before the Super Bowl. The whole thing with COVID and whatnot, they're not doing a game this year.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I can kind of understand why they're doing one, but why they're not doing one, but it's also Pro Bowl. You kind of
Let the players play. That's what I
think.
say.
Yeah, I mean, they always
Think so?
they always have like, especially with in the past couple of years with the Pro Bowl, they've been doing like their game show kind of thing. Where they have like their dodgeball game, and then they do like the different like obstacle course kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Like the
they
different
kind of make it like the
competitions
NBA All-Star
Yeah,
Weekend,
yeah, they
which is
kinda do it
way
like that.
better than the NFL Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the NFL Pro Bowl now is starting to get better because now they're doing like a
I
bunch
agree,
of like, passing
yeah.
competitions
Yeah.
and like offense versus defense on stuff, and it's working pretty well for them.
I agree with that. As they try to like diversify and make it more interesting,
Mhm.
it's been getting better. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a shit about football.
Oh, come on.
I do not care.
Ever since they switched it to
At all.
being before the Super Bowl, it's not really that fun anymore.
Yeah,
You don't get the
you
best
don't get
you don't
the
get
best
the best
players on the
yeah,
best
'cause those-
teams.
Yeah, 'cause
Exactly.
they're gone.
and also, no one cares. The players don't care. They don't want to get hurt. The score is always like 50-50.
Yeah, there's
There's no defense. There's no penalties. They're out there having fun, but it's not that fun to watch. What I do like is, I could be wrong about this, but I believe the MLB, the winner of the All-Star game, the conference, the winning conference, their team that makes the World Series gets an advantage.
Yeah,
Like
they
home
get
field
4
advantage.
games of home game advantage for the All-Star game.
I think that
I
is
think,
cool.
Is that for the NBA too? Or no, NBA is
no.
they draft now for the NBA. They don't do East versus West anymore.
What?
Don't
No, they do East versus West in the NBA.
Oh, I thought they just drafted people with, or is it just captains from each side? And then
Oh
they,
no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the playoffs.
Oh no, I was talking about the All-Star game.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do draft, and they've been mixing it up. They do like a Team World versus Team USA, so all the American players versus all the foreign players, which is cool.
Oh yeah, that's always
a
cool
good
to
game.
watch.
That's usually the Rising Stars Challenge, which is players in their first or second year.
Mhm.
But I like that the MLB actually puts stakes on the game, because then it prevents this.
I mean,
no
that-
one- no
it's
one's
still
trying,
it's
you
still
know?
like a game. Like, yeah, people still try, but it's
But also
still like
football,
a kind of more relaxed game. But it's still like you said, they're gonna try when they play it.
football is not a sport that works well when you're not trying that hard. I feel like in
I mean,
basketball,
that's
when
how you
they're-
get hurt too, is when you're not trying.
in
very
basketball
hard.
when they're like not playing defense, there's just a bunch of threes and windmill dunks and alley oops, and it's really fun to watch. But when an NFL team isn't playing hard or doing anything, it's not like much to watch.
Yeah, there's
Dudes kind of like jogging around, and if they're not trying very hard, they're not going to have a crazy catch or a crazy pass.
yeah, you get those crazy
and in order
runs
to
and
have a
stuff.
crazy run or a crazy catch, you need to be overcoming some type of defense. If a receiver's wide open and he does a crazy catch, that's one thing. But if he's guarded by a defender who's really good, that's when it's interesting. Or when a running back jukes someone out. When you don't have players giving it their all for players to make plays and make it interesting, it's not very fun.
Yeah.
So I don't
Maybe
really
goes for the offensive side too when they're not trying.
I don't really mind that it's not happening this year, but I'd like to see them in the future put some stakes on it and make it more interesting.
What kind of stakes could they put on a Pro Bowl game?
Like
for
a
the NFL, do
prime
you
rib.
think?
A prime rib.
A prime rib.
When a
Just
team gets a
one?
prime rib,
One
Yeah,
team.
just one.
One.
One prime rib. Yeah, you gotta split it between all of you.
it's just on a plate in the locker when they get back.
Yeah,
Cold.
not even not even hot. It's cold. It's like half eaten too.
Man,
Yeah,
I need that
here you
prime
go.
rib.
Yeah, that'd be kind of difficult, I think, though. To
I don't
come
know.
up with some kind of stakes or whatever.
I like
You'd have
the-
to do. I think you would have to do it for like the next year almost.
Yeah,
But there's really no home field advantage because it's
Put
a
some
neutral
money on
site.
it.
It's a neutral site.
Put
Well,
some money.
all right. Sports
some money.
gambling?
It's legal
sports
now.
gambling.
Is it
No,
legal now?
they earn money
Yeah.
if they win.
Some states.
Oh, they
Not
earn
put
money.
money
I
on
see,
it.
I was like, well,
Make
is
the
it Vegas?
game like
Oh, like the players get like a bonus.
Yeah.
For the players that
something
They
like
get
that
a
to me.
dollar each yard they get.
because having all the best players in the NFL playing in one game, that has such potential. That could be so amazing. But every year it's just kind of dicking around and not very fun.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the roster. Let's finish it out with the AFC.
So what the only important ones?
Patrick Mahomes.
Miles-
We'll
Miles
only
Garrett
go over the
And Nick
Miles
Chubb.
Garrett.
yeah.
the
We'll go over
Browns
the interesting
player.
ones. So starting quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, obviously. He was last year's MVP. Probably him and Rodgers are the top two in the running for MVP this year.
I'd
so
say
no
Wilson
surprise
instead
there.
of Mahomes, maybe.
Yeah, I would
'Cause
say
Wilson's been
also
having
up
a
there.
good. I mean, his interceptions are a little high, but his touchdowns are second.
So for
Which is more
running
important?
backs, what was that?
Which is more important? Less interceptions or more touchdowns?
More
You
touchdowns.
think so?
Less interceptions.
I would say less
I think.
interceptions. It looks way better.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you mean?
Like, which do you think looks better? Like on a
Would you rather have a guy with low touchdowns and low interceptions, or high touchdowns and high interceptions?
So you're saying that
Well-
you'd rather have Jameis Winston on your team than
That's a
somebody
good
that
point.
throws like
That's a good
10
point.
touchdowns but only 2 interceptions?
Didn't he have 30 touchdowns and 30
Yes.
interceptions?
Yes, he did. He had the perfect ratio.
Hey, they should make a 30 for 30. You know the ESPN 30 for 30s,
Yeah.
and just call it 30 for 30.
They have to.
30 for 30,
30
30
for
for 30.
Yeah.
The Jameis Winston story.
They have to.
That would be perfect, dude. It writes itself. Come on. How
Apparently
can
he
you
got
not do that?
LASIK eye surgery though.
Did it
over
help?
the
Best-
Off season. I don't know. I mean, he did play for the Saints a couple games, but Taysom Hill mostly played. But I don't know how well they did
The best
with him in there.
30 for 30?
I mean, 30 touchdowns is
story.
30 touchdowns is a lot to throw.
No, yeah,
honestly.
it is.
You know what
And
else
so
is a
is
lot
30
to throw?
interceptions.
Yeah, 30
Yeah, 30
interceptions.
interceptions. Yeah, that's a lot to throw as well.
Okay, so back to the team. Starting running back is Derrick Henry, the absolute beast. He makes all other NFL running backs look like
Children.
actual children. He could be the best running back of all time. I feel like he has the physical frame to be the best ever. It just comes down to whether he can. I don't know. He can do that throughout.
Better than
Yeah,
He
especially
also
with like
thought
the
he can.
size of like the linebackers and stuff
Yeah.
shrinking a little bit, where they're kind of becoming quicker
Yeah,
and not as big.
He's-
He's perfect
he's
now.
bigger than most
He's got
linebackers.
the speed to compete with them, and then he's got the size.
and he's
to-
got the stiff arm. He
Which is more important, size or speed? You don't have to
For a
answer
running
that.
back?
You don't have to
I'd
answer
take,
that.
I'd take speed honestly over size.
speed, but he has
Oh,
both.
come on, we also
Yeah,
have
he
size
has
and
both.
both. All right.
All
right,
That's my
Sam.
one joke.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Back
boy.
up. Here's my one joke. Backup running back for the AFC team, Nick Chubb of the Browns.
Yeah.
What other Browns players made
He's
it?
just
Miles
Oh,
Garrett. Yeah.
well,
Is there
the
another one?
lineman Joel Benito, Bitonio,
Gino?
Oh,
Bitonio.
yeah.
I think he's
We're
pretty good,
talking
isn't he?
about. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
I've heard he's pretty good. Okay. Well, Ooh.
Gotta be pretty good to be a Pro Bowl.
And then
Yeah?
here's the
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite. Do you think he
From zero,
deserves
it's from zero to hero, honestly.
from zero.
from attempted murderer to literal god?
Yes. So let's talk about who Myles Garrett is and what he did in the past.
What was the quarterback's name? I forgot his name.
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph?
Mason
All right.
Rudolph, yes, it was.
So this happened about 2 years ago, right?
That was last year.
Last
It was
year.
last year.
Was it
Yeah,
last
'cause
year?
It's
last
like a
season,
year
'cause
anniversary.
Last season was like because Ben Roethlisberger had all of his injuries last year, and they had
Oh yeah, you're right. That
They had
was
that-
last year.
Devin Hodge, like the duck hunter or whatever, and did a story on him, and then
Oh,
they did
yeah.
a story on Mason Rudolph too.
Yeah. So Myles Garrett is a Browns defensive end. He's playing against the Steelers at the end of the game. Browns were
Was it
up.
that- was
The
it
game
Yeah,
that?
was
Browns
over.
won. Let's.
Oh, yeah.
The Browns were up,
But no one
They had
talks about
won.
it.
The game was over. They were
No
running
one
out the clock. Myles Garrett is blitzing the quarterback, Mason Rudolph, who he's sacked twice already on this drive. And Mason Rudolph does a quick screen pass because he's already been sacked every play of the drive. To quick dump off to his running back so he can't get sacked. And Myles Garrett doesn't get it. And just comes at him full speed, knocks him on his ass.
Well, the other was more like he just kind of held on to him for too long, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
guess I
I
can't
don't.
remember the
I don't
second
remember
think
the
that
play.
I think that it was. I
remember
think
the
it was like.
aftermath of the
I think
play.
that Garrett.
I agree,
think
yeah.
that Garrett hit him at like a good time, but he just kind of like held on to him and like.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
provoked
Yeah, something
both
provoked
of them.
both. I think.
And
yeah.
It was the end of the game, end of a tough game. They were
It's
already chippy.
division game.
Division
yeah.
rivalry.
Yeah, rivals.
And he comes in with the sack. I can't really remember if it was that dirty or late, but
I don't think it
There,
was.
there wasn't that much. That wasn't. It could have been a penalty, but nothing more than that.
Yeah.
It would have just been like,
So-
get over it.
So
whatever.
something set both these guys off, Rudolph and Garrett, and started yelling, turned into a big fight. And then Sam, since you are
I love the Browns and I love their history.
you are our Brown fan here, tell us what your guy Myles Garrett did to Mason
Myles
Rudolph.
Garrett did the only reasonable thing he could,
I'd say so.
which is to grapple with what's his name, Rudolph.
Rudolph.
And about two linemen
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
but and then in the middle of it, grab his helmet
By the
rip
face
it-
mask.
by the face mask, rip it off of his head, and then come down and fucking hit him on the head with it with
Beat
the
him.
like the,
The
hard
very-
end
yes,
of it.
Yeah.
the hardest part of the helmet, like the edge, like the
Opposite of the face mask.
yes,
Yeah, the
opposite of the face
yeah.
mask. He hits him right on. He
Look at
first
the
rips
head.
it off
Right
of
on
his
the
head.
top of his
Yeah.
head too, and it's hard.
Like just that alone, grabbing someone's face mask and ripping hard enough to take their helmet off. That
Yeah,
could
that's scary
that
as
could
shit.
mess
That
up-
thought.
Yeah,
that's gonna
that
mess
is-
up your neck, your spine. Like that's gonna rip your ears. Like
Yeah.
that is not gonna be fun. But then not only that, to then have it swung on you full force by a giant defensive
Same guy that ripped it
lineman.
off.
Yeah, that's the,
Yeah, the same guy that ripped it
animal,
off.
the-
And to have it hit, I mean, it's not like he was just swinging this thing at him and it grazed him.
yeah, it was
Oh,
he
it's
made
full on.
Damn.
he made full on contact with the hardest part of the helmet right to his head. And then that of course set the Steelers off. The Steelers started beating the shit out of Myles Garrett.
Wait,
Started throwing punches.
Started
Pounces
throwing
started throwing
punches.
When
punches
did
at him.
because Rudolph got knocked to the ground and he said bitch. That's like a key moment.
Yes,
in it.
that was-
Is that right after he got hit or
Well,
before he got
Okay,
hit?
so right
Well-
after he got hit with the helmet, because he got hit with the helmet.
yeah, 'cause
the
he's like
Steelers
Daisy, so what? Bitch.
The Steelers' offensive line then takes out Myles Garrett
Yeah.
and starts wailing on him, punches, kicks, and while Mason Rudolph is still probably dizzy from getting hit in the head with the helmet, 2 seconds later, one of Myles Garrett's teammates, a Browns
like a
player,
lineman.
just comes up and blindsides him and just knocks
Yeah.
him on his ass, just like for no reason. Mason Rudolph really did nothing to
Wasn't
this
it?
point.
Yeah, no,
Like-
I would say Mason. Okay. Well, there's the, okay,
Well, yeah, there's a whole like
theory.
racial thing.
okay, there's the
like,
theory.
The
Here's-
mic cut out and all that. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, yes. So after the fact, whether this is true or whether it's just in order to justify his actions, Myles Garrett claimed Mason Rudolph had called him
The N word.
the N word, which
I, as a Browns fan, I just can't believe that.
I don't.
I don't believe it.
Wasn't Mason
I
Rudolph
could
wearing a
see that
mic
it
that
was-
game,
I don't know.
or one of them was wearing a mic and there was no,
the
evidence of
ref.
it.
The ref.
Yeah, there was.
But
a
his
ref?
mic shut off. His mic didn't coincidentally didn't catch any of the audio.
I don't think he said
Huh.
it. I don't know.
It's
Di-
there's
it-
like a lot of ifs and could go either way.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
in
going to
the
say one
past
way or
at
the
this
other,
point,
but
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
regardless,
Funny to watch.
It's funny.
Well,
it's
yeah.
attempted murder.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
basically.
even if he did say that, it's not an excuse. I mean, it's a terrible thing
It's
to
a terrible
say.
thing.
Why
It's
would
bad.
you? Why would you do that? Like, but you're gonna hit someone.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally that could almost kill a person hitting them with a helmet, like in the way
I'm
that
su-
he did.
I am surprised
It's no
he
joke.
was able to. He got hit on the head.
And was still standing.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
up. That
He
dude
didn't even
took a
fall.
fucking.
I don't think that he fell.
No, he was on the
No,
ground
just
at
kinda,
one
like,
point.
he just kind of like backed up from it. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
I know. All I know is he was on the ground at one point because he
Yeah,
did.
'cause he turned, no,
Well, that's 'cause he
turned
got
around,
knocked
threw his
over.
Hands up at the ref. Yeah, he turned around and threw his hands up at the ref.
That's because he
Oh,
got knocked.
okay.
When he said bitch was
And
when
then he
the
got
other
knocked,
guy
yeah.
came in.
Was
hit
it
him.
okay?
Yeah.
Just so I want to make sure.
But I mean, these helmets are literally designed to be as strong
Yeah, we've all played
and
football.
lightweight as possible.
Yeah.
So it's like literally, I mean, it's a weapon,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
insane.
almost attempted murder at that point. It's crazy. So I think that's all we have for the NFL.
Yeah.
Let's before we wrap up this discussion, give me your projections or your who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl matchup?
Browns Packers.
You
Who
think
wins?
Browns Packers?
Come on, bro.
Browns?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's getting a ring. We'll see.
I don't like Baker Mayfield that
Why
much.
don't you like Baker Mayfield, dude?
I like Johnny Manziel a lot because he's a cocky
I
little
love
asshole.
Johnny Manziel.
So is
He was
Baker
great.
Mayfield, though.
Yeah,
He's
but
kinda
not
toned it
as
down a little
much.
bit. Yeah, he saw
he
what happened. He saw
learned.
what happened to Johnny Manziel. Yeah, he learned his lesson from him.
It's funny how the Browns keep getting that same type of dude.
It's the same guy. It's like
Cocky,
it's literally like
flashy.
a printed copy, but
Yeah.
less.
What's your prediction?
I would have to say Packers and Titans.
Packers Titans, who wins?
I think the Packers pull that one out.
My
if they
guess-
can stop Derrick Henry.
My guess, of course, I want the Packers to win, but my honest prediction, Packers, Chiefs win.
I guess.
Ooh.
Well,
That's my
Packers play
prediction.
Titans this Sunday or one
Yeah,
of the upcoming
yeah.
Sundays.
No,
Yeah.
this week.
So
this
this
week.
should be. I mean,
Should be a good. That'll
potential Super Bowl.
be. Yeah, that'll
matchup.
tell us. That'll tell us a lot.
Yeah.
All right, that was a good discussion of the NFL Pro Bowl roster and just what's going on in sports and Myles Garrett.
Or Scott talking about
Um,
Myles Garrett.
So I guess kind of sticking with sport-ish things, have you guys been seeing Jake Paul's requests to fight Conor McGregor and all the trolling he's been doing?
No, but I've heard
You
about
haven't?
it. I
I've
haven't,
seen
like,
a lot of
any
his.
it.
Trolling.
Wyatt,
I don't know
what
if you
have you
guys like. I don't know how much you're into like UFC and all that
A
stuff.
little
but
bit.
I love the
there was
I
a,
used to love the UFC way more.
a video and like you
For
could
now.
completely tell it was staged with Jake Paul and this fighter named Dylan Dennis and he's always getting shit on Twitter and stuff like that. And it's a video of Jake Paul. He pulls up in this truck with eggs at this guy's interview, and he's just like throwing eggs at him like for no reason, just like calling him a bitch outside of like a store for no reason. It's just
So
that, and then Dylan Dennis just chases him, and that's it. It's just like it's totally staged. It's like
So do
he's
you
just
think
trying
this
to be
is
like he's
scripted?
trying to act like this guy that's what he's not, kind of.
So let me just give some context to the overall issue and who these people are. Most people know who Conor McGregor is. The
The cocky
infamous
Irish.
Jake Paul is
Conor
too, I would say,
McGregor.
at this
Yeah,
point.
Conor McGregor is the Irish, one of the best UFC fighters. He's crossed over into boxing. He fought Floyd Mayweather.
Is he UFC?
Yeah,
he
For-
was
I
UFC.
thought
he's
who's the
retired.
He's a UFC
I thought
fighter.
he was a wrestling guy who went into, or is that
That's
someone
Brock
else?
Lesnar.
That Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Con-
Well, Brock
so-
Lesnar started UFC and then went to WWE and then came back.
So
Came
yeah,
back.
Conor McGregor, one of the best fighters. He's very like flamboyant, flashy kind of dude. So he draws a lot of attention, and he's a very good fighter. And then Jake Paul, on the other hand, is a YouTuber. Him and his brother Logan became YouTubers, doing random stuff and
Like vlogging.
Through
And
yeah,
shit.
Vine, I think, is how
vlogging.
they got
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
actually
did.
started
They
on Vine.
Vine.
making little 7-second
Oh
videos.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they transitioned to YouTube, and
really funny, actually. Like a lot of their
Yeah.
Vines are actually pretty fucking
but
funny.
they are
when they started out, all right.
they're famously
Whoa.
known. They're famously known as kind of Conor McGregor, kind of like people because they're very flamboyant, very arrogant,
arrogant.
Oh yeah,
very
they
cocky.
Say what's on their mind
And-
all the time.
and I think a lot of the reason that people pay attention to Jake Paul and Logan Paul is because people hate them.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
really don't like them. They do a very good job of keeping attention on them and growing like a following and fan base by being unlikable. It's interesting. It's
I will
it's,
say, anytime
They're
Jake
being
Paul
the
fights,
heel.
I want him to get his ass knocked out.
it's almost
all the
like
time.
yeah, it's like the
All the
heel.
time.
Like in professional wrestling, there's the face and the heel, where it's scripted, where you're either going to be the good guy, the fan favorite, or the bad guy, the enemy, the villain.
Yeah.
But you're still getting, it's just a different way of getting attention and getting people interested in you. So they're definitely the heels of, I'd say, like the YouTube community. But
especially after the whole Forest thing, they kind of had to
Oh,
be.
yeah.
The whole
that was-
Suicide Forest
that's,
kind of really turned up.
yes,
That's
Logan.
Jake Paul, not or is
No, that was Logan
oh,
Paul.
is it-
Logan
It's
Paul.
Logan Paul's the one that's
Logan.
which
Jake
Logan Paul
Paul's
is
the one
older.
fighting.
No,
Jake Paul's fighting.
Logan Paul's
Logan
the
Paul.
Suicide
Yeah,
Forest.
yeah. Logan Paul's the one that called out Conor McGregor. Though I'm pretty sure.
No, it was Jake Paul.
Because Logan fought Nate Robinson.
No,
that
that's
was
Jake
Jake.
Paul. They're both.
I thought
they're the exact
I thought
same,
that
but one has a beard.
Yeah, I
No.
thought that Jake was the younger one. Because Logan
No.
Paul fought KSI.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's who
Okay.
fought Nate Robinson.
No.
No.
Now Jake Paul is fighting. He knocked out Nate Robinson, right? Right.
Okay.
He knocked him out, right?
Logan and Jake Paul are both fighters. They did a famous fight where Logan Paul fought KSI, who KSI is also a YouTuber, and Jake Paul, Logan's younger brother, fought Deji, I think his name is, who's KSI's younger
It
brother.
was like a brother versus brother
yeah,
type
it was a
thing.
brother versus brother.
Oh yeah.
Jake Paul then recently fought Nate Robinson, who's a retired NBA player, and knocked him out.
Yeah.
Cold.
First round too.
Unexpected.
Nate Robinson shouldn't have been in that.
No, he
fight.
shouldn't have been in the
He
ring.
No
Well, yeah, it's a
chance
different
on him.
sport.
So-
There's no
I
reason.
mean, Jake
So
Paul and
Jake
Logan Paul
Paul-
are both big guys. Though.
They
Like,
are.
They're
Yeah.
built
So
and they're tall.
so Jake Paul and Logan Paul have both kind of transitioned into becoming boxers, and they're both big.
They beefed up.
they used to
fit
wrestle. I'm
guys.
pretty sure in
Yeah,
high
they used to
school. Like,
wrestle.
I remember the whole Logan Paul thing last year. They
Yeah.
did a whole story on both of them, and Logan Paul used to like wrestle. And he was a really good wrestler from where he was at.
I mean, they're YouTubers, but they are. I mean, they're.
They're athletes.
Big.
I
too.
think they're kind of
strong.
phasing more into professional athleticism
I think they are.
and
Yeah.
less
Mhm.
YouTuber because they've
Yeah.
had a lot of
So-
controversy on YouTube.
So now let's get specific as to what Jake Paul has been doing with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I don't really know what he's doing.
Jake
so.
Paul called out Conor McGregor, he put a check on Dana White and Conor McGregor, sent it to them for $50 million to arrange a fight between Conor McGregor and Jake Paul.
no chance.
Does it
$50
work like
million.
that?
No chance. No chance. He
Since then-
survives 2 rounds.
Since then, Jake Paul has been making video after video calling out Conor McGregor. He's made videos of him wearing the Irish flag and talking shit about him. Jake Paul has unfollowed every single person on Instagram except
Except for-
for Conor McGregor's
Yeah.
wife.
I think
Just
that's,
his
that-
wife?
That's the
pretty,
only
that's pretty
person-
funny. That
that's
one's
the
pretty
only
funny.
person he
yeah,
follows.
that one's just funny.
He was driving around LA and I think saw Conor McGregor's like brother-in-law, like his wife's brother, and was like throwing water bottles and shit and harassing
Yeah,
him.
so
and,
that's
an
like,
an
asshole. Yeah, just being an asshole now about
So
it.
he is calling him out. He's saying $50 million. And he's basically saying, I'm some little YouTube kid, and you're one of the best fighters in the world. What are you scared of? Take $50 million from me and kick my ass. What are you scared of? I think he's got a point. I don't understand why Conor McGregor isn't saying, yeah, I'll kick your ass.
I mean, McGregor's
Because
also
it's-
retired.
Yeah, it's also
3 times from UFC
you
and
can't come
once
out
from
or
boxing.
you can't come out again to
Yeah, he
fight
can't-
this.
Yeah. and
fight.
then
Oh,
go
for
back
$50
and-
million for an easy win?
He's made so much money. There's no point.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got his whiskey business.
No,
now, too.
he's never fought
Proper
for
12
$50 million. $50 million would be the biggest fight
Yeah,
he's
but
ever
that's not. I'm saying he has enough money
that
where
bigger
he
than-
doesn't
how much was the
have to.
Floyd
He doesn't
fight?
have to prove anything.
How much was the Floyd fight?
Not 50 million.
To
Not
the
sure.
winner?
Oh, okay. Well, he
Oh,
didn't
okay,
win
he
that.
didn't win, yeah, I
so
guess,
yeah.
but
He didn't
Got
win.
half
Floyd made
the
a lot
pot.
of money, I'm pretty sure.
Do boxers do half pot? I don't know how boxing winnings go out.
I honestly have. That's a question that I've had because he's saying 50 million. I don't know if 50 million means they will literally pay them 50 million just to
There's no
participate.
way.
I think that he's giving the 50 million
To
to Dana
UFC.
White
To
like,
Dana White
set
to
it
put it
up.
on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to set it up and get Connor to come get him.
With
Like,
like
use-
25 million or something.
Yeah,
like
get him.
that.
For, use like 25 million or however much. I don't know.
Yeah,
how
'cause
much
they have
it
to do a
costs. They
fight
don't
at
have fans
the-
or anything now.
Yeah, they
so
do the
it's-
fight at
yeah, it's.
UFC Island.
Do they have to?
Yeah,
Can they not do it?
that's where they do it.
Okay.
That's where they have UFC fights.
I thought they were gonna do it in Texas now.
Were they? Why?
Well,
They have
Joe
a-
Rogan and everybody moved to Texas, and
Joe Rogan sucks. I'll say
Shut
it
up,
here.
Sam.
I'll say it again. I hate Joe Rogan.
oh my.
Why?
He's not funny. It's not funny. Maybe he's good at commentating. That's it. That's all. I'll
You
give
think
him
he
credit
sucks
for.
as a comedian? I think he's a
He
good
really,
podcaster.
him and Dana White really brought up UFC. though,
Yeah,
from
for
like
sure.
the
Well,
ground.
Dana White
They-
for sure did.
No, Dana White
Well,
for sure.
Joe
Yeah,
Joe
Rogan,
Rogan
yeah,
is
they
a
both-
commentator.
they brought it up.
He was.
But he was
like-
a
It's
big
the
part of it,
energy he
though.
brings to
Yeah.
commentating.
He's like
But
the
he's
color
not only a
commentator.
commentator.
He's
He's
like-
like an investor and like partial.
Yeah, but I'm
owner
saying
of
that's
the
what he's
UFC, I'm
like
pretty
super
sure.
well known for is
Yeah,
commentating.
Yeah,
he's
but
a
he-
color
but
commentator.
he's been
He's
pulling
the guy that does
strings.
the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why I'm
anyway.
saying he's a
Like the
good
stats guy.
commentator,
Yeah.
not a good comedian.
But he still helps
Okay.
with the bring up of all of it.
Well, when he's doing a podcast, it's kind of commentating. It's more
Yeah, but I think it's
commentating
way
than
more
comedy.
calm, and the ones I've seen,
True.
it's
Yeah,
not.
that's
It's not
true.
as much as Joe Rogan, UFC guy.
Anyway,
No, Joe Rogan UFC is.
anyway, Joe
different.
Rogan gets enough airtime of his own.
I hate Joe
Who do you
Rogan.
think? Do you think this fight between? Do you think the Jake Paul, Conor McGregor fight could happen? Do you think it's gonna happen?
I don't know.
I say no.
I don't think so.
I don't see it happening either.
Okay, if it did happen, who would
McGregor.
win, and how
McGregor.
fast would Conor McGregor knock out Jake
Yeah,
Paul?
that's it.
At least
I say-
by the second round.
Middle of second round, if not first round.
Yeah. If not
Wow.
first round, second round for sure. There's no Jake
It's
Paul.
it is a boxing fight though. It's not UFC.
But I mean,
I
UFC is
still-
a mixture of all things. Yeah, Connor's not. He's not a strong hitter. Like Jake Paul, obviously he's stronger than him, I would say, and would have a stronger punch because that's not Connor's fight
Yeah.
type. He's more of a he'll pick his shots and hit you and knock you out with one hit.
Yeah.
Just from placement and accuracy with how he fights.
Yeah,
He's a
true.
smarter kind of fighter.
But
that's
he's
more
also
y-
very
Yeah, he's
kind of
a lengthier kind of guy too.
Yeah.
He's not like. I mean, he's a little bit shorter than Jake Paul, but he's not.
He's a short man.
Would you
smaller.
want to see it happen, or you just don't care?
I
I'd
would
love to see
watch
just 'cause
it.
I want those.
Like if
guys.
you could
I want
flip a
I want
switch and
Jake
say
Paul to
yes
get
or
his
no,
ass
This
kicked.
fight is gonna happen or not? Would you be interested in it?
Yeah, flip a coin. I'd want it to happen.
Yeah, I'd want it. I'd flip the switch to yes. I'd love
Okay.
to see Logan Paul or Jake Paul.
I'd
kick
like
their
to see it
asses
too.
as
but
well.
I
Jake
feel
Paul.
like
Yeah,
it's
I
Jake
said
Paul.
Logan or Jake, either one of
Just
them.
saying.
I'd love to see it.
I think it's a
I'd love
more
to
of
see
a
it.
it's more of a publicity stunt than anything.
I think
Oh,
it is
yeah,
for sure to
He's
bring
trying to get
clout
they're
to
trying to
his
get
name.
like their clout back to their name again.
I think it's
Yeah.
Jake Paul going for clout.
I think so. I don't think anything's gonna come of it. And if it did, Jake Paul would be real sorry that.
Who would you say is the more famous brother?
I would say Jake Paul now, Logan Paul previously.
Well, honestly, you can't tell them apart, and I can't most of the
Yeah.
time either. And I think most people.
I can tell them
can't.
apart
I
by
can
looking. I
because
can
of
tell
the
them apart by looking at
controversies.
them, but I just haven't. Yeah, I can tell them apart by looking at them, but just some of
I
the
can
things
tell
like I
you. I
can't.
think
Yeah.
they both look the exact same. Don't they both have shitty beards and blonde?
No, I thought that one of
Bulky?
them. I thought that one of them shaved their beard.
See, didn't know that.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I think that'll cover it for our discussion of Jake Paul versus McGregor.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen. Probably not, but
Doubt it.
we'll see.
I'd love to see McGregor kick his ass.
For the last segment of our podcast, we're going to talk about some music. We haven't talked about too much music, but there's an album that came out when did it
Not
come out,
recently.
Sam?
It came out 2010s, I think.
Oh, really? It's not new?
I'll look it up.
I swear it was new.
I'll double check real quick.
Okay. I'm going to also let you kind of take the lead on this, Sam, because
He's our resident
I
expert
think,
on this one.
Sam's our resident expert on this album because he's the only one that listened to it so far. I've listened to parts of it.
I've listened
but
to this
it's-
album a few times.
It's a 6-hour-long album. It's been growing in popularity. It's been kind of going viral amongst the music community online and stuff. And it's called "Everywhere at the End of Time" by
The Caretaker.
The
Also known
Caretaker.
as, James Leland Kirby. So the album
Okay.
came out in 2016. The first
2016.
stage. And the final stage came out in 2019.
Okay, so
Oh.
there's 6 stages. Each one is roughly an hour long.
Roughly, yeah.
So, what is it? Why do people care about this album? Sam, take it away.
So this album is supposed to, I don't want to say simulate dementia, but like show what it is. I guess it's like it's a
Through
concept
music,
album.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So first of all, it is a kind of like experimental, ambient, lo-fi. So it's not like it's a pop song.
Yeah,
you
no,
see.
it's
Yeah.
not happy at all.
It's
No.
very ambient and kind of like orchestral, and a lot of it
Well-
is using samples from music from like the 40s and
It's-
50s.
like ballroom music from like the 30s to 40s,
Okay.
and then it just takes those songs. It's basically sampling a song and only putting like reverb, delay,
Yeah.
like distorting it, and that's really all it is.
Yeah. And it's very ambient. It's
super
very
ambient.
like
Yeah.
atmospheric, but it's meant to.
I don't want to say simulate. I don't think that sounds
But I guess that's
right. Yeah, I
kind
guess
of
that's
the
the
word
best word
to
to say.
simulate
Simulate
it.
dementia.
So, how does it start off, and how does it simulate dementia?
So dementia, for those who don't know, is a deterioration of the brain.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And
You're a
it's
doctor too, if you didn't know.
Huh?
Said you're a doctor too. if
I'm
you
a
didn't know.
doctor for this
Okay.
segment.
Carry on.
It's supposed to simulate dementia in that the songs that play deteriorate with time, and it's supposed to like be the losing of memories. Like you can't understand this. You don't remember it correctly.
Yeah.
You don't understand like what's happening. You're losing focus. That's what it's supposed to be.
But it doesn't actually cause
You don't actually
memory
get dementia,
loss.
you
No, it
idiot.
doesn't actually
Yeah.
cause dementia.
That
Yeah,
was a
we-
thing.
Which is what Wyatt
Probably
thought.
just, yeah, that's what I thought originally.
It's like I'm gonna start forgetting
Wyatt,
stuff.
I'm gonna
by
get
the end of
dementia from
this.
listening to this album. I'm not doing that.
So the first
Yeah, just to clarify for everybody, does not cause dementia.
Good clarification,
good
doctor.
disclaimer. So the first part of the 6 parts is a little grainy.
It's
but
mostly music.
Mostly clear music, ballroom, kind of happy.
Yeah.
It's very vintage feeling. It's very
It's supposed to be
nostalgic, but it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
There's a little static. It sounds like you're listening to
I got
Like,
a
an,
song.
an
yeah.
oldish record on a record player.
It's
and you
supposed
get
to
some bumps
be-
and
Yeah,
crackles.
it's supposed to be the first stage of dementia, where it's like you don't really know what's happening. Like you don't know you're
Yeah.
having dementia.
Oh yeah, it's like when it's first
It's
start formulating.
So it's like
And
there's
then-
a bit,
There's like a
bit of
little bit,
distortion,
yeah.
but it's still clear.
So then it starts. It continues to deteriorate. The music gets a little bit more warped.
Yeah.
There's more cracks. There's more pops. It's harder to make out. It's not as clear. It sounds. It's hard. It's really hard
Distorted.
to explain, but it starts to get
Yeah,
distorted.
it distorts.
It makes
really
it less
doesn't make
clear.
a sound at
no,
all.
it turns.
Well,
it
it's,
goes
it's just
from music. To
it's just
ambient.
noise. It goes
Yeah.
to
Literally
to
nothing.
noise.
So
to
so
noise.
So 2 and 3 are kind of self-explanatory, but the big shift kind of happens in 4.
4 and
and then-
5 are the biggest like.
So explain
changes.
those.
So it's it's music. It's music. So stage 1 to 3, it's music. Mostly, you can really tell it's
Yeah.
music. 4, you really start to notice it, that it's changing. 5, it's like this isn't really music anymore. And then stage 6, which doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's the stage 6 has no name. Is
Couldn't remember
literally
to put one in there.
it's literally just droning noise. It's not music. You can't tell it's music. And then it's
Static,
nothing.
weird,
Mhm.
and then
Just-
yeah, and
it's
then the
just
album
noise.
ends
That's
with-
all it is. It's just noise.
And the last 10 minutes of the album is literally silence.
Yeah.
Or something
And
like that.
here's something that I really liked about it. I like the album art.
Album
on
art's
all-
super cool.
Oh
really
yeah, it
cool.
is.
Something that was really cool is the last,
Yeah, have you seen
the
the
last
album
part of the
cover?
6.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
The last part of the 6 is it's all done in the same art style, using the same color scheme and everything.
It's the same artist for everything.
Yeah. But the last album, where it's just silence and it's just nothing and nothing's recognizable, the album art is a backwards canvas. And it's supposed to represent the first one, like the first painting, which is still there, but you can't see it, you can't recognize it, like you don't know what it is, which I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The use of, I don't know.
I think it's a very cool
I think
It's like another visual
yeah, it's a
aid.
cool like expression through visuals, as well as
it's
the
a
music.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a so. What would you say of the album overall and the experience overall?
I quite like it. I listen to it while playing like games or something like that.
Oh.
Crackhead.
Thank you.
Dude, Jesus.
It's
a masochist.
Do you listen just like 1 through 3, or do you listen to like 4
I've
or
lit-
5 or 6
okay.
through that?
what I did over the summer. I'll say this example because it's what it brings to mind. Is I played Minecraft while listening to it, and it
All
helped.
6 hours?
No,
Be like
I got through like 3 hours. I've fallen asleep listening to the album a lot. It's
You're-
nice.
Oh my. Well, yeah, the beginning is nice.
Yeah, and then I don't remember the
yeah,
ending.
you just don't. Yeah, you just don't make
That's
it to the
nice.
ending.
But I've listened to it its entirety. It is a 6.5 hour album, so it is a chore.
Yeah.
But it is good. It doesn't make me cry. Like that's the reported effect is that people will cry at the end
Yeah.
of it. It hasn't happened to me. I'm a manly man.
So that's what I was gonna say. With it
I
being,
don't know, I've seen you cry a couple
You've
times.
literally never seen me cry. What are you talking about?
I've seen Sam cry.
Have
a
you?
lot, a lot.
Every
Yeah.
time. Every
Last
time
year
I-
on
You
last
cried
year on
last time we filmed
Christmas.
the podcast, dude.
Yeah, I cried
Last time we
out,
recorded the podcast, you
Last year on
started bawling
Christmas
at the end.
too.
Christmas.
Yeah. You
Okay.
saw the
Is
stars.
this a
in the
real?
sky.
Wait, is this a real thing or is this a joke? I can't tell.
So just based on like if you've ever had it affect anyone in your life, it's one
Oh
of
yeah,
the
it's
not
most
a good thing.
terrible,
It's terrible.
awful things to ever happen to a person. It's a very morbid and sad thing. So the album, just based on that description, seems like it's very dark and kind of depressing. Do you kind of like get that feeling, or because personally for me, I find that albums that are sometimes disturbing or dark or something like that oftentimes are the most powerful. The ones that are coming to mind are Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures is I think one of the greatest albums ever and is really dark and like ambient and kind of weird sounding, but it's a huge critically acclaimed album, but it moves you on a different level emotionally. And the other one is Daughters. What is it called? The most recent Daughters album, which is also very dark and disturbing, but and twisted.
Is
But
that the
it
one
really
that-
like
Is
what?
it the
Talking
Fantano
about, like-
one?
Yeah.
Is that the Fantano one?
It's
That he gave
Daughters.
kind-
You won't get
So I
what you
know
want.
it's called. I forgot what it's called.
It's very kind of hardcore industrial grindcore, but it kind of gets into your psyche and your mind with the vocals and the lyrics and just the guitars and everything.
So it's
and
just
it
kind of like
hits
the
you.
noise that it's like, or is it
But
kind of everything?
I can play you
That's-
some Daughters after this. But
Alright,
what
yeah,
I'm
'cause I've
saying is
never
that
heard of
it's
that at
a
all.
it's a very like twisted, weird, and you would think it's unenjoyable, but it's actually kind of pretty moving.
Hmm.
Would you feel the same way about this, or what do you think?
I would say it's. I think it can be powerful if you let it. If that sounds weird saying that, but it can be. Like if you have a personal experience with dementia,
yeah.
you might think
I
it's
could see
far
that.
more powerful. Like I had a grandmother with
Yeah,
dementia.
I think-
so it's
I
a
think
And it
a
kind
lot
of
of
helps
people have-
people
But the-
understand, like that have gone through the issues of
Yeah.
people
I
with
think a lot of
dementia.
people have. I think probably most people at least have some kind of experience or understanding.
Because you can't
understand
really
someone with
understand
dementia.
what those people are going through, because they can't physically tell
Yeah.
you,
They
and like
can't
they can't
there.
tell you and let you know.
They
So
can't tell you.
kind of gives you an insight of what.
That's an
It's
interesting
like-
way to look at it. Yeah.
But I would say it's a very good album. I highly recommend it. Maybe people can't make it through in one sitting, but I would say just
Yeah.
listening to it is.
Where would you
Even
say
if it
to
takes a couple
start to get
times.
like the best portion of it? Where would you say that would be at? Like if you
It
didn't,
seems like it's
like
kind
if you
of an
didn't have time to
experience.
listen to it all the
I-
way through, where would be like the best places to listen to it?
That one, that would be kind of like just listening to, just
It
watching
wouldn't
a
re-
part
it-
of a movie.
Well,
It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. So what you could do if you have no time is what I would say is try to listen to it
Okay.
in the stage.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
yeah.
I was
okay.
thinking.
So yeah. That's what I was
Because you
kind of
need
asking.
to
Yeah, I
listen
didn't
from
know
the
if you.
start to the end.
No, 'cause
Well,
it
I
doesn't
wasn't
make
saying skip to
sense.
5. I don't know if you like start at like 3 and then go to
You know, you should start.
or whatever.
Start at 6.
You can
Go
s-
to
I would
2,
say I would
go to
recommend
5.
Yeah, yeah.
3.
Well, I was still gonna keep it in like
Listen
going
to
the
in
same order. I
reverse.
was just saying I didn't know if you want to like
Yeah.
to shorten it up and get like that like a shorter experience of it almost because it's
I don't
very
know if you
long.
could-
So
I honestly
yeah.
don't know if you could. Yeah, it is. It is
I
literally
think it's
what,
6.5
Yeah.
hours.
Fourth of a day?
Yeah.
6.5 hours.
So
It's
I'm
a
gonna
fourth
put
of
on
a day.
your Anthony Fantano flannel, and I'm gonna make you give me a rating of "Everywhere at the End of Time" by The Caretaker out of 10. What would you give it?
Light 8, hard at
Like
7.
hard 7. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, especially for an ambient.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's no
atmospheric
lyrics.
album
Yeah.
Yeah.
with
This is
no
like the first
lyrics, no
ambient album
singing
I
or
listened to.
anything. It's all kind of
Yeah.
just sampled and distorted.
Not
and
even really
altered
music
audio.
at the end of it either. It's
Right.
just kind of
Yeah.
noise. Yeah.
Yeah, the second
And
half of it
silence.
could probably a lot of people wouldn't even consider music. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or noise or anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Also,
you can't
yeah,
find
it's
it on
not on Spotify. It's on YouTube
Which is
or Bandcamp.
or
Yeah,
Bandcamp.
For some
Spend
reason,
$5
the
support
Caretaker
the
is
artist.
not on.
I did it
That
because
makes
it's all
sense.
samples. It's
That
literally
makes
nothing
sense.
is.
Well,
is
he
on
obviously does.
what it
It's
is, so.
when you say it's all samples, you think he didn't do anything, but obviously, literally in
Well, he
every
does
single
something,
second
but
of that
it's the-
album, there is so many levels of alterations and distortions
yeah.
and ways that he's changed
It
it to
just
give it that
creeps
effect.
up on you
Because
slowly.
otherwise, it would just be a compilation of just.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
There's obviously a lot he's doing.
That's
It's
true.
like you can't just give it like a sudden change. You got to kind of
Right.
slowly build up into it. You can't. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't
it's a
just
slow
dramatically
build up,
go
That's
like
why
a
you need to
one
listen to
hour.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a slow
Yeah.
build up.
Yeah,
If you just
you
listen
need
to the
to-
sixth
yeah.
one,
You can't just
and it's
listen
just
to 1 and then 6.
it's like, okay, what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I do it to my friends to piss them off.
I'm listening to stage 6 of The Caretaker
They don't
on
like it.
repeat.
Yeah.
Come into the main room. It's
Stage
stage
six.
6 time.
Stage 6 on repeat.
Ooh, hell yeah!
Yeah.
Played at a party. Kill the
I
party.
should try that in my garage one night. On stage
Yeah,
6.
to get
Oh, I
people
know
to
they
leave.
would.
Your roommates will eat
Oh,
you
we got
alive.
like 65. Yeah, to get people out of the garage. I'll just start playing
Oh,
stage
that would
Oh,
work
6.
turn off the
perfectly.
Caretaker. You're scaring all the hoes.
You're scaring all the hoes.
All right. So I think we've gone through all of our topics. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about, or any closing remarks? Or you think we should wrap it up?
I got nothing.
You got anything?
All right. I think we'll leave it at that. I had some good discussions today of some cool, interesting albums. The NFL, Cyberpunk, Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett specifically.
What else? Assassin's Creed. We didn't even expect to talk about that.
Oh, we got into that deep dive.
Yeah, that was an
We were going to talk about
topic.
the NBA, but we talked a lot about the NFL. I didn't want to. That's something we'll touch on closer to the NBA season, maybe with someone.
Well, it's starting right now, isn't it?
It is
They just
starting
started
soon. That's why I
preseason,
wanted to
yeah.
do it, but we did
Maybe.
a lot
Yeah,
of
they just
sports
started
talk.
the preseason.
I like to diversify so that if someone doesn't give a shit about video games, we're not going to talk about video games the whole time. If
Well,
we're
yeah.
going to talk about the NFL, we're not going to talk
You gotta
about
diversify your assets.
you know. So we'll
Oh,
talk.
yeah.
We talk about
That's what I
different
want.
stuff every time.
Not only a doctor, he's an investing Mongol.
I'm an accounting
Accounting
doctor.
doctor.
All right, guys. Should we leave it at that?
Calling it?
Wyatt, thanks for being our second ever guest. I think it went really well.
It was a pleasure being on.
Well, yeah. Thanks.
How do
man.
you feel?
I feel good.
I think it
feel
went
Except
well.
for we didn't wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not done yet. We're not done
Happy
yet.
holidays.
Happy
Oh, I didn't
holidays.
know if
Merry
you were
Christmas,
gonna-
everybody. Have
Happy
fun.
holidays.
Kicking back.
Happy Hanukkah too, because I
Don't
think that's
die.
still going on.
Kicking back, relaxing,
Sure.
spending time with family, getting some
I don't
presents and some good food, hopefully. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
De-stressing if you're in
Yeah,
school.
take the
like
time
final
off that you
season.
need.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has
We'll
been
laugh. After.
this has been episode 4 of the Spare Tire Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on SoundCloud and Instagram. Give us a subscribe on YouTube, like and comment. Hit us up with suggestions or comments on anything, whether it be topics you want us to discuss, questions you have about what we're doing, or and anything, comments on something wrong with the audio or whatever. Keep in touch with us if you want to. We'll definitely be
Yeah.
very responsive. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah.
Just so I'm gonna reiterate the
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
thing.
If you want to stay up to date and be able to get all of our content, YouTube will be the place as of right now. SoundCloud
Yeah.
will only be our three most recent podcasts.
Recent
How much is it to upgrade on SoundCloud? I didn't even know they
It's
had
like
a
$12
feature.
a month.
any amount.
Yes, I didn't even know that
It's like
SoundCloud had an upgrade
$12.99
feature.
a month. It's like, well, that's not worth it.
I haven't used SoundCloud since high
All right.
school.
Thanks, everybody. Peace out.
Bye.
It will change your life. Podcast. It will change your life. Podcast. It will change your life. Listen in and hear some stuff. There you go. We got all that.
All right.